check up on before we sail out?
Check the weather, make sure it's not extremely windy or a typhoon signal. I would say before you actually go out in the water, you need to book the boat for wake surfing first. I would highly recommend to do it during the weekdays because it's going to be way less people and other boats around to create a chop. Also, I highly recommend to do it very, very early in the morning if that time slot would be available. The water is going to be like super flat.
Oh, so it's more calm. It'll be easier to balance.
Absolutely.
So how about the wakeboards? Are there any differences between these two and their functions?
So this would be skin style. That's my favorite board. This would be the surf style, and another one would be hybrid. Skin style is usually a flat and thin board with either no fins or up to 3 little fins. They're really stable, really good for the beginners or any other tricks. Like literally, you can do anything on it.
So I'm going to be using that.
Yes, and surf style is usually thicker. It's a little less stable and has 2 or 3 big fins, like you can see here. It's like huge. It's great for doing high jumps and carving. And the hybrid would be technically a skimboard with a surf style fins. It would be very stable and would be very good to a lot of tricks, except those that include spinning or rotation.
So as a beginner for wake surfing, what's the first thing that I would learn?
You need to know which side of the wake you're going to be surfing. So you need to find out which leg forward. Are you regular or are you goofy? The leg you're going to be kicking the ball should be at the back. That's your leading steering wheel. So after you figure that out, you can get into the water. I would highly recommend to watch some tutorials first beforehand, before you even go into the water. You will have a basic understanding what to do.
Well, when you put your feet on the board, is there a particular place where you should put it?
Yeah, when you're already in the water, the board is in front of you. You need to put heels right on the edge of the board. Your leading, ruling leg should be right at the end of the board. Front foot, let's say, should be slightly further from the middle. So, and when you stand up, you press your heels, keep your arms straight, back straight, core engaged, and the boat pull you out.
So after, as a beginner, you're able to stand on the board, what's next?
So after you stood up from the water, you pass the foaming, you need to switch the pressure from your heels to your toes. Make sure your hips are above your feet and always keep your knee bent, like you're about to sit down. So after you stabilize yourself, you can try to let go one hand and learn how to speed up and slow down. After you manage to do that, you can drop the rope and try to stay balanced and stay on the wake.
And both times, I actually got on the board, so I feel very proud of myself. I think it's very difficult to find that sweet spot, and I'm still trying to get the gist of it. But just then, I did let go of the string and balanced a little bit, and then kind of touched the board a little bit, thanks to my amazing teacher.
How would you say we find that sweet spot?
Well, it's technically somewhere in between. From the beginning of the wake, it's where the boat is, and at the end of the wake, where the foam starts to roll up. You don't want to be too close to the boat, and you don't want to be too far back, so somewhere in between.
So after mastering the basics, what are some of the tricks that you can do while wake surfing?
Well, I would say you can start with learning how to carve. It's basically going up the wake and down, up and wake and down. It's very relaxing and has like a nice rhythm to it. Also, try to ride switch, which means on the other side of the wake. So if you're regular, try goofy. If you're goofy, try regular.
So are there any exercises you can do on a daily basis to help you strengthen your body for wake surf?
The main part of the body that works in the wake surf is legs. So I would recommend to straighten the legs. So like doing really hard trail hikes or lunges or squats. With or without weights if you like going hardcore.
So for someone who wants to try wake surf for the first time, what are some tips that you would share with them?
I would say never be afraid to fall. That's part of the game. The more you fall, the faster you learn.
What do you think of the water sports scene in Hong Kong?
Oh, when I started wake surfing like 4 or 5 years ago, barely anyone heard about it. Nowadays, it's so popular. It has such a huge supportive community, it's amazing. And the water sports in Hong Kong is so accessible, so it's so nice. Anyone in the family can join and do whatever they like.
Definitely. This is my 3rd time wake surfing, and I'm starting to feel a little bit more confident. From trying to stand up on the board, to finding my balance, to letting go of the string, and surviving that couple of seconds in the sweet spot, it wasn't easy. But you know what? They say practice makes perfect, so you just gotta keep trying and never give up, and you can learn something new.
Good job, good job. I did it!
There are many different reasons for falling in love with a cuisine. It could be the overall presentation, it could be the nutrition, it could be the flavor, it could also be a memory associated with a particular dish. And why do I love Cantonese cuisine so much? Well, it's because of all the reasons above. When we talk about Cantonese cuisine, wok-fried dishes that we share at family gatherings are probably the first thing that pops in your mind. But what makes Cantonese cuisine one of a kind is that the dishes can also be exquisitely presented. The versatility and adaptivity of Cantonese cooking is unlike any other.
Chef Siu employs both Western and Chinese cooking techniques in his innovative dish creation. From the wok-fried Wagyu beef to the crunchy jellyfish and sea whelk topped with caviar, this appetizer put the best of classic Cantonese cooking and the creative use of ingredients together. What a mouth-watering combo.
Cooking seafood is the best way to test a chef's skill. From picking quality seafood to controlling the heat, everything has to be very precise. And on top of that, the chef's choice of seasoning and the way of cooking can also make a big difference on the outcome of the final dish.
Lobster is a much sought-after ingredient in Cantonese cuisine. Nobody can resist its sweet and briny flavor. But for many chefs, cooking it right is an art. Chef Siu first deep-fried the lobster, then quickly stir-fried it along with shallots and soy sauce to enhance the aroma as well as to retain the crunchiness of the meat.
Usually, Cantonese crab claw is deep-fried, but this one is first pan-fried and then braised in a rich chicken soup. So it's very tender, but still very flavorful because the chef added fried conpoy. Personally, I love seafood, but if I had to pick one comfort food, then it would definitely be a long-boiled Cantonese soup because it's both delicious and very nourishing.
Soup is an integral part of every Cantonese meal, and this chicken soup here is unlike any other. From preparing the fish maw to boiling the homemade chicken broth, the entire cooking process takes over 3 days. Savoring this warm and hearty soup is undoubtedly the best way to round out a Cantonese meal.
Hong Kong is one of a kind. On one hand, it's a fast-growing cosmopolitan city, and on the other, it's a place where we can experience traditional rituals practiced by the locals. For example, we wear new clothes and hand out red pockets during Chinese New Year, and we burn incense for Buddhist ceremonies. This city is a blend of old and new. Aside from retaining the rituals, how about trying to appreciate our heritage from a new perspective?
Hong Kong people's love affair with feng shui, I think, essentially comes down to the positive action and meaning. And it says a lot about Hong Kong's tradition and culture. And I think last and not least is a great way to start the new year. And so Hong Kong really do love feng shui. For me to take it to the modern world, I have to really get to understand where it came from, the history, and the benefits of feng shui. And it's been a great challenge, but I love it.
Thierry might not look like a typical feng shui master, but never judge a book by its cover. Thierry has a background in design and illustration, so she is bound to bring in fresh and creative insights to the field of wind and water.
Mary, what do you think is feng shui based on?
So in my own experience, feng shui is based on this book called the I Ching, and a lot of philosophy and the theory based on the yin yang and the 5 elements. So essentially, it's really about the balance.
And feng shui is a very old and traditional Chinese tradition. How do you think is your style different from the original or the traditional feng shui masters?
I learned feng shui from my father, and he's actually the very traditional type that you would see, you know, like you imagine a feng shui master like the mountains and like the long beard, which is great because I learned everything that's traditional from him. But then because I study design and art for basically my whole life, so I really saw the opportunity to put the two together.
And how would you define a place with good feng shui?
The key to good feng shui is actually a place that really reflects who you are. So we can have a place that is technically good feng shui, but it doesn't really match with your personality, then that could, you know, make it not a very good feng shui place for you personally.
So how is it that a person can bring good feng shui in terms of interior design?
So what we really look at is, let's say, the furniture arrangement, the layout of the space. Just make sure the space is very comfortable for them. And now I do also cross over with design and fashion, so kind of incorporate, you know, a lot more creative energy into it. For example, I design some traditional, well, inspired by a lot of traditional feng shui objects like golden oxes that you see all the time, like birds, and a lot of symbols that actually represent good things in the space. And I also have a marble dog, and they all represent different things that gives you positivity once you place them in a space.
And I'm very curious, what role does fashion play in feng shui?
So a large part of feng shui is about 5 elements and balance. And so a good way is, you know, looking at what color makes you feel and what actually element are you lacking in your birth chart. And for example, if you're lacking, let's say, water, then you should be wearing a little bit more blue and black.
So if we lack fire, we wear more red?
Yes, correct. So, yeah, so red color, purple, orange, and pink. And there's other elements that you could be lacking. So there's 5 in total. So there's also metal, which is silver, gold, and white. And there's also wood, which is more green and floral. Yeah. But actually, earth is more earth tone. So if you're lacking earth, then you can wear more like brown and yellow. Beige colors.
I see.
Yeah, so aside from colors, there's other things that we can play around with. For example, earth element would be jade, crystals, and stones. And if you're looking for like wood, then it's more like floral and wood materials. Feng Shui truly mean to me is an awareness of our surroundings and who we really are as human beings.
Although I'm not a feng shui enthusiast, I always believe that it is a highly sophisticated knowledge. After meeting Thierry today, I'm very impressed on how she modernized this traditional knowledge to adapt to our modern lifestyle.
Doing things right is combine trendiness with timeless elegance. It is a versatile shoe that looks good on formal and casual occasions. However, to select a pair that really gives you maximum comfort, it is not an easy task.
Talking about loafers, it is important to understand that a loafer is very specific to your foot. A loafer does not have any possibility to tighten more, to loosen more, or to be more adjusted to your foot because there is no lace-up, there is no buckle, there is no way basically to adjust it. So a loafer should be very, very, very close to your foot. I would say that a loafer on the first 2 to 3 wears should be a little bit tight. Tight does not mean painful. This is very important to understand. A loafer should feel tight at the back, should feel tight on the instep. That's all. The best secret to find the best loafer is to try and try and try. For the actual fitting of a loafer, it is always good to have a pair of socks with you or provided by the shoemaker where you go. First of all, if you try a shoe with a socks, you take less risks because it will be smoother. You can always try loafers without socks if you plan to wear them without socks. Lastly, we are okay to wear loafers with socks, without socks, with invisible socks, with high socks. Really play with it. Shoes are part of your DNA, part of your culture, part of your personality. So personalize them, and socks are a great way to personalize.
Besides opting for a pair of dress shoes with your suit, a lot of gentlemen nowadays have switched up their footwear options to up their sartorial game, and that's where boots come into play. But before you lace into a pair of shiny boots, there are a few things you need to know.
When it comes to fitting on the boots, first of all, check the height. If you go for a high boot, which is higher than your ankle level, then you have to be a little bit more careful that the ankle is not too tight. Then, if you go on a slightly lower boot, such as a Chelsea or something with a zip, you can be more playful. In that condition, check the instep, especially on the boot. It might go higher, so your bone might be a little bit more hold. Check, of course, the heel if it doesn't move too much. And last but not least, check your toes. A boot has a tendency to be more constructed, have more stitchings. Remember, stitchings does not stretch. So if you want your boot to be perfect within the time, check that it's perfect today.
When you find a pair of shoes that is comfortable and fits you perfectly, it's like the saying goes, do what you think is right, not what people think is right. You should simply go for it. That's all the time we have for this week's episode. If you want to find out more about what we have introduced, remember to log on to our website. Got you covered. Join us again next time and have a good time.